The girl in the snow fell quietly that day. Everything was cold and silent. People passed by quickly, not looking around. No one wanted to stop. No one wanted to help. But he did. His name was Ray, a human man who had lived alone for many years. He was walking back from the market, carrying a small bag of food. He didn't expect to find anything strange. But then he saw her. She was small, no more than 8 years old. Her skin was a soft silver blue, and her hair was tangled and full of ice. She sat near a broken wall, her arms wrapped around her legs, shivering in the snow. Her feet were bare. Her eyes were large and glassy, full of fear. Ray froze for a moment. He had seen many aliens before, but never one so young and never one so completely alone. He looked around. No one else seemed to notice her. Or maybe they just didn't care. A few people passed by, but they walked faster when they saw her. Ray slowly walked closer and bent down. The girl didn't move. She looked up at him, but said nothing. "Are you okay?" Ray asked, his voice soft. She didn't answer. She just stared. Her lips were blue from the cold. Ray took off his jacket and gently wrapped it around her. She flinched at first but didn't pull away. He noticed something in her hands, something she was holding tightly. A small, broken silver locket. It looked old and damaged, but important. Ray didn't know what to do. He wasn't used to caring for anyone. But something inside him said he couldn't leave her here. She was going to die in this cold. He picked her up gently. She was light, too light. She didn't resist. She just kept holding the locket, even as she leaned against his chest. Ray carried her all the way home. His house was small and quiet. He laid her on the couch and covered her in warm blankets. He made soup, though he wasn't sure what kind of food she could eat. When he brought the bowl near her, she looked at it, then at him. Slowly, she reached out and took it with both hands. She drank it slowly, carefully. Still, she said nothing. Ray watched her closely. She didn't seem hurt, but she looked very tired. Her eyes kept moving around the room like she was afraid someone would come in. Ray didn't ask questions. Not yet. He could tell she wasn't ready. That night, she fell asleep on the couch, still holding the locket. Ray sat nearby, thinking, who was she? Where was her family? Why was she alone in the snow? The next morning, Ray tried to talk to her again. "Do you have a name?" he asked. She blinked but didn't speak. He pointed to himself. "I'm Ray, Ray." She looked at him, then lowered her head. Still no words. But she wasn't afraid of him anymore. Ray stood up and brought over a pad and pen. "Can you write?" he asked. She took the pen slowly. Her fingers trembled. She drew a shape. Not letters, just a circle with stars inside it. She pushed the paper back to him. Her eyes said more than her silence ever could. There was pain in them, fear, and something deeper, like a secret she couldn't explain. For the next few days, Ray let her stay. He gave her space, food, warmth. She started to follow him around the house. Quiet, but curious. She touched the books, stared at the pictures, listened to the music he played. Once she smiled, just a little. Ray noticed, and it made his heart feel warm. He decided to give her a name. "Mayra," he said one evening. "I'll call you Mayra, if that's okay." She looked at him, then she nodded. Just once, that night. While she slept, Ray looked at the locket. He didn't want to open it without her permission, but it seemed to call to him. Carefully, he held it under a small light and noticed something strange, a tiny symbol on the edge. It looked like a warning. He didn't understand it. The next day, he tried asking her about the locket. "Is it from your mother?" he asked. Her face changed. Her smile disappeared. She pulled the locket close and held it against her chest. Tears filled her eyes. She shook her head slowly. Ray realized something terrible. Mira had lost her mother, and whatever had happened, it was bad, very bad. He sat beside her and said nothing more, just stayed with her. Outside the window, the snow began to fall again. Quiet, soft, and cold. But inside, for the first time in a long while, warmth lived in the house, not from fire, but from a silent bond between a lost child and the man who had chosen to care. But neither of them knew the past had not ended. It was just hiding. And soon it would return. A new life, a new name. The old heater buzzed softly as Myra sat by the window, watching snow melt under the pale sun. She had not spoken a single word, but something had changed. Her eyes no longer searched the corners in fear. Now they followed Ray. Every step he took, every word he said, she listened, silent but awake, like a flower slowly opening in the warmth of spring. Ray noticed it too. The way she would walk behind him when he moved room to room. The way she tilted her head when he read books out loud, even if she didn't understand. The words. She was learning, watching, trusting. But outside their small home, the world was less kind. When Ray tried to register her through the local adoption center, they laughed. A human raising an alien child? Impossible, they said. Dangerous, some warned. A waste of government resources, said others. Ray didn't care. He filled out the papers. Anyway, he stood in long lines. He gave blood samples. He even had to prove he had enough food and water storage. But the real test came when they asked the girl's name. Ray looked at her. She looked at him. She didn't say a word. She doesn't have one, Ray told them, but I call her Myra. The officer behind the desk rolled his eyes. We'll need her birth ID, species tag, and family link. Ray's chest tightened. She doesn't have any of that. Then she doesn't exist, the officer said coldly. Sliding the forms back. Ray picked up Myra's hand and walked away. That night, Ray gave her a small necklace with the letter MIM carved in wood. This is yours now, he said softly. You're Myra. You're real. She took it slowly and held it close to her heart. The days passed in peace. Myra started humming soft sounds, broken notes. Sometimes she copied words Ray said, whispering them quietly when she thought he couldn't hear. Home, book, dad. The last one made Ray freeze. He didn't turn around. He just smiled. But peace doesn't last forever. Strange. Things began to happen. Ray found odd symbols burned into the ground outside his house, small, like footprints but wrong in shape. Once a neighbor's dog howled all night, then vanished. Another night, Ray's power went out, even though there was no storm. And Myra? She became quiet again. One evening, she stood by the door with her eyes wide and her hands shaking. She wouldn't go near the windows anymore. She clutched her locket like a shield. Ray asked, Is someone looking for you? She didn't speak, but she nodded slowly, like the truth was heavy. Ray put stronger locks on the door. He covered the windows with blankets. He slept with a tool by his bed just in case. Still, something inside him whispered, this wasn't just about family. Myra wasn't just lost. She was hiding from something worse. One morning, Ray stepped outside and found something stuck to the door. It was a piece of metal with markings, sharp lines, and alien language. Myra saw it and ran to her room, locking herself inside. Ray didn't understand the symbols, but Myra did. Later, she drew them on paper and handed it to Ray. She pointed to one of the symbols and then made a cross with her arms. A warning. A danger. Ray didn't sleep that night. Instead, he watched Myra sleep peacefully on the couch, her little hands wrapped around the wooden M. Her breath was soft. Her face calm, but her past was not. He whispered, Who are you really, Myra? And somewhere, far beyond the snowy skies, someone else whispered too. They had found her. They were coming. Asterisk the voice in the night, the house was silent. Too silent. Ray couldn't sleep. For days now, the shadows outside seemed longer, colder. Mira had stopped humming. She no longer followed him from room to room. Instead, she stayed by the fireplace, clutching her locket and staring into the flames as if she was waiting for something or someone. Then, just past midnight, it happened. A sound cut through the silence, not loud, not sharp, but strange, like a whisper that wasn't meant to be heard by human ears. Ray opened his eyes. Mira was no longer on the couch. The blankets were still warm, but she was gone. He moved quickly through the house, calling her name. Mira, Mira, no answer. Then he heard it again whispering. Coming from the storage room. He opened the door. Mira stood in the center of the room, her eyes glowing faintly blue in the dark. Her locket floated just above her chest, spinning slowly. A beam of soft light came from it, projecting shapes onto the wall, symbols, stars, and finally, a woman's face. Ray stood frozen. The woman looked like Mira, same silver blue skin, same wide, deep eyes, but older, tired, desperate. The projection flickered as she spoke in a strange alien language, full of pain and urgency. Mira whispered, along with the words, repeating them softly like a prayer. Then the image stopped. The locket dropped into Mira's hands. She turned to Ray. For the first time, she spoke a full sentence in his language. She was my mother. She's gone. Ray couldn't breathe for a second. Mira had just broken her silence, not with fear, but with truth. Mira walked over and held out the locket. It said, "They will come. The ones who hunted her. They want me." Ray looked down at the small device. The memory inside had more than just a message. It had coordinates, warning signs, and a date. Today's date. Her mother had known this day would come, that they would find Mira again. How did she put all this inside? Ray asked quietly. Mira stared at the locket. She was a creator. She made things ... with power. They said she made something too dangerous to live, so they took her. But I got away. Ray crouched in front of her. And now they want you? Mira nodded. 1,000 thoughts raced through his mind. This wasn't just about one lost alien child anymore. This was bigger. Her mother had built something important, something others wanted to destroy or control. And Mira was the last piece left. Ray stood up. Then we need to leave. Now. But Mira shook her head. It's too late. They're already here. Ray turned toward the window. Far in the distance, strange lights glowed in the forest. Not from cars. Not from humans. Something was moving through the trees. Mira held his hand tightly. Her voice was calm but firm. If you stay, they'll hurt you. Ray looked at her, surprised. And if I run, they'll take you. He gave her hand a gentle squeeze. We stay. Together. Mira didn't reply, but tears rolled down her cheeks. Not from fear this time, but something else. Maybe hope. The voice in the night had warned them. Now, they had to decide what to do before the sun rose, because once it did, everything would change. Asterisk government knows the sun rose without warmth. Ray locked every door, shut every curtain, and kept Mira close. The night had given them a warning, but daylight brought questions, too many. And not from the people they expected. At first, it was just a knock at the door. Not loud, not angry, just official. Ray peeked through a small gap. In the curtain, 2 figures stood outside, both wearing dark uniforms, not local police, not military either. Their badges were strange, foreign, clean, no names. Just symbols. We're here about the child, one said. Ray didn't open the door. He didn't say a word, but Mira, standing behind him, began to shake. They know, she whispered. Knock came again, louder. Sir, We're from the Interplanetary Child Recovery Unit. We have reason to believe you are harboring a non-registered, unclaimed alien minor." Ray's blood turned cold. Failure to cooperate, the voice continued, could result in criminal charges. Ray took Mira's hand and led her silently through the back exit. They didn't run. They moved slowly, quietly, through the snow-covered yard into the trees behind the house. Mira stayed close. She didn't ask where they were going. They both knew. Anywhere was safer than home now. They reached Ray's old transport pod, a rusty vehicle he hadn't used in years. Mira climbed in without hesitation. As Ray started it, his mind raced. He had to find answers fast. They drove deep into the outer zones, far from city scanners. Finally, in a dusty outpost, Ray met an old friend, Maven, a human mechanic who once worked in black market systems. Maven owed Ray a favor. "I need to break into something alien," Ray said. "A locket. It holds tech, memory files." Maven raised an eyebrow. "Illegal memory tech?" Ray nodded. "And it belongs to a child. Her mother hid something in it." Maven didn't ask more. He led them into a back room, dark and cold. He opened the locket using tools Ray couldn't name. Then he connected it to a strange machine. The screen lit up. Data poured out images, maps, files, lists of names. Mira stood still, watching. And then one file opened itself without a command. It was a video. Myra's mother, again. But this time she was in a lab. Behind her, machines glowed. Creatures moved in glass tanks. She spoke fast, scared. "They're taking everything," she said. "They want control over my research. They think I made a weapon. But it's not a weapon, it's her. My daughter, Mira." Ray's heart dropped. "She carries what they fear," the woman continued. "Something pure, something free. Her DNA holds the key. Not to destruction, but to healing. But they won't see it. They never do." The video cut out. Maven leaned back slowly. "You're carrying a miracle," he said to Ray, "and they're going to bury it." Ray looked at Mira. She was quiet, her face pale, her small hands clenched. Now he understood. Mira wasn't just a runaway. She wasn't just a lost girl. She was the future, a future someone was trying to erase. Before Ray could speak, Maven's eyes widened. "You need to leave now." "What?" "They found you. They're jamming signals. I can feel it." Outside, a low hum filled the air. Not wind, not machines. Something else. Ray grabbed Mira's hand again. They ran. The truth was out. The government didn't just know, they were hunting. And this time, they wouldn't knock again. The man with silver eyes. Snow had started to fall again. But this time it wasn't peaceful. Ray and Mira were hiding in an abandoned farm outside. The neutral zone. The barn creaked in the wind, and the broken windows let in slivers of cold air. But they had no choice. Every safe place had been burned. Every friendly face had turned away in fear. Ray wrapped Myra in an old blanket and handed her some dry food she didn't eat. She hadn't spoken since the locket's message. Not even a whisper. She just stared at the door like she was waiting for something. Or someone. Ray lit a small fire in the corner and sat with his back to the wall. His old weapon rested across his lap. He hadn't used it in years. But tonight, he felt its weight. Like never before. And then it happened. No footsteps. No sound. Just a sudden shift in the air. As if the night itself held its breath, a man stepped through the broken barn door, tall, calm, dressed in black. His eyes glowed silver, not natural. Not human. Ray stood immediately, gun pointed. "One more step and you fall." But the man didn't stop. He raised both hands. "I'm not here to harm the girl," he said. His voice was smooth, too smooth. "I'm here to take her home." Mira gasped. She had seen him before. She backed away, pressing herself into the shadows. Ray's finger tightened on the trigger. She is home. The silver-eyed man smiled. That child does not belong to you. She belongs to us. Ray didn't lower the weapon. Who are you? I am the one who protected her mother. I watched over the research. I kept it hidden from those who would abuse it until your kind got involved. You mean humans? The man's eyes flashed. No, I mean fools. Then his tone softened. She is the last of her bloodline. And you think you can keep her safe with firewood and stolen food? Ray stood his ground. She trusts me. You can't fake that. The man stepped closer. His voice dropped. She trusts you because she doesn't understand what she is, but she will, soon. Myra whimpered. Ray looked at her and saw something. Knew. Not fear. Anger. She walked toward them slowly, her small hands glowing faint blue. Her voice trembled, but she spoke. You let them take my mother. The man froze. You said you would protect her, she continued. But you lied. The man took a step back. You don't know what you're saying. She died because of you, Mira said, louder this time. You are not my family. He is. She pointed to Ray. And in that moment, everything changed. The man's silver eyes dimmed. His calm broke. You've made your choice, he said coldly. So be it. He stepped back into the night and vanished, without a sound, without a trail. Ray didn't move. His heart was still racing. Mira turned to him. For the first time in hours, she reached for his hand. He was there when she died, she whispered. Ray held her close. He won't take you. Not while I'm breathing. But he knew what that man was. A shadow of the past, and shadows always come back. Asterisk. The truth about her blood. Mira collapsed in the middle of the night. One moment she was awake, watching the stars through a crack in the barn roof. The next, her body hit the ground with a thud that shook Ray to his core. He rushed to her side, panic rising. Her skin had lost its soft blue glow. Her breath was shallow. Her hands were cold. But what shocked Ray most was what he saw. When he tried to treat her wounds. She was bleeding. But it wasn't red. It shimmered liquid silver, glowing faintly in the dark, sliding across her skin like drops of living metal. Ray pulled back, stunned. What is this? Mira opened her eyes slightly, her voice barely a whisper. I don't know. It started after she died. She meant her mother. Ray wrapped her arm and held her tightly. We need help. Not just any help, someone. Who knows what this is? By morning, Ray made a desperate choice. He carried Mira to a hidden research camp deep in the frozen borderlands, an outlaw clinic where no ID was needed, where species didn't matter, and where secrets were currency. Dr. Lamar, a rogue xenobiologist, agreed to examine Mira. It didn't take long. You need to understand something, Lamar said, scanning her blood. This child isn't just rare, she's impossible. Ree frowned. What do you mean? She's carrying both organic and synthetic life structures. Her DNA is interlocked with something. Artificial, but ancient. Older than any tech I've ever seen. Ray felt the floor shift beneath him. Lamar continued, pointing to the scans. Her blood carries dormant signals, hidden code that activates under stress. She's not just her mother's daughter. She's engineered. For something we don't yet understand. Ray's mind raced. Is she a weapon? No, Lamar said, eyes narrowing. She's a key. Her body may be holding the last map to her mother's lost work, maybe even the cure for the war virus. Spreading across the galaxy. Ray shook his head. But she's just a child. Lamar looked at Mira gently. Yes, and that's why they'll never stop hunting her. Not because of who she is, but because of what she could unlock. Suddenly, alarm screamed through the camp. They had been tracked. Again. Mira sat up, her skin glowing again, stronger this time. Her silver blood shimmered at her fingertips. She looked at Ray. They found us. Ray grabbed her, shielding her with his coat. Outside, ships began to land. Limar tossed Ray a dataship. Take this, it's her blood code. If you can reach someone off-planet, someone you trust, maybe they can protect her. Ray nodded. Where do we go? Limar hesitated. There's only one place they won't follow you, the old colony. The one that was erased from records. Ray's heart sank. That place is dead. No, Limar said. Now it's your only chance. Ray grabbed Mira and ran out. The truth about her blood had been revealed. She wasn't just special. She was dangerous. To the wrong people. And priceless to the right ones. Now the entire galaxy would want her, but only one man would die to protect her. And he already made up his mind. Asterisk, she called him father. The old colony lay hidden beneath clouds of ash and silence. Once, it was a place full of life scientists, engineers, families from dozens of worlds. Now it was nothing but cracked stone and shattered glass, buried under years of forgotten history. No map showed it. No signals reached it. But that was exactly why Ray brought Mira here. They had nowhere else left to run. Ray found shelter in the remains of a control center. He blocked the entrances and lit a fire from old wiring. Mira lay beside him, her small hand curled around the wooden necklace he gave her long ago. She hadn't spoken in hours, but she was awake, watching, listening. Outside, the night was too quiet. Too still. Then came the hum. Low, deep, unnatural. Ray stood slowly. His weapon was ready, but his heart was heavy. He had no illusions this time. They had been found. There would be no more running. The door shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. Then he stepped in. The man with silver eyes. But this time, he was not alone. Behind him stood 4 more figures, masked, silent, carrying advanced weapons. They surrounded the room without a word. You can't stop this, the silver-eyed man said. Give her to us. She was never yours. Ray stood in front of Myra. She chose me. That's all that matters. The man's eyes narrowed. You were a mistake, a placeholder. Her real purpose lies beyond your reach. Behind Ray, a small voice spoke, not loud, but strong. Stop. Everyone turned. Mira was standing now, her hair glowing faintly in the dark, her silver blue skin shining like starlight. She is mine, Ray whispered, but Mira shook her head gently. No, Ray, you are mine. She stepped forward past Ray, facing the man who had haunted her dreams. My mother trusted you, and you let her die. The man said nothing. You didn't protect her, Myra continued. But he did. He had nothing, no power, no reason, and still he chose me. The silver-eyed man raised his hand to signal his soldiers, but Mira lifted hers. Light burst from her fingertips, pure, bright, alive. It wasn't fire. It wasn't a weapon. It was truth. The soldiers dropped their weapons and staggered back, blinded by it. The man fell to one knee, covering his face. Ray didn't move. He only watched her, heart pounding. She wasn't afraid anymore. She turned to him. Her voice trembled, but her eyes were clear. You are my father, Ray. You always were. And then she ran into his arms. In that moment, the war ended for Ray, for Myra, for everything that had led to this point. The soldiers backed away. The man with silver eyes vanished without a word. They had lost her not because of a battle, but because she had chosen love over fear. And when the sun rose over the ruined colony, it lit not just broken walls, but a new future. Ray and Mira stood hand in hand, father and daughter. Not by blood, but by something far stronger. By choice. Asterisk.